The Sigma male has become one of the most talked about labels on the internet. He is described as mysterious, quiet, and above all else, private. Unlike the alpha who leads or the beta who follows, the Sigma is said to step outside the entire social system. He does not seek the spotlight, he does not play games to get approval, and he does not open up easily to others. Instead, he lives in his own world, guided by his own rules. This private nature is what makes the Sigma male seem so different. To many people it looks powerful. While others are competing for attention, he stays in the shadows. While others are desperate to belong, he chooses solitude. Privacy is not just a habit for him, it is a way of life. This is why so many people are fascinated by the Sigma male. He seems untouchable, someone who cannot be influenced by society's constant noise. But here is the truth. The privacy of the Sigma male is not as simple as it looks. There are reasons behind it that even Sigma males themselves may not fully understand. Privacy is not only a preference, but also a shield. It can be both strength and weakness, both a choice and a reaction to deeper struggles. In this video, we will explore 6 shocking reasons Sigma males are so private. Each reason reveals something hidden about why they guard their lives so closely. Some of these reasons come from insecurity, others from culture, and others from the way the Sigma identity has been shaped by media and memes. By the end, it will be clear that Sigma privacy is more complex than just wanting to be left alone. It is tied to fears, contradictions, and influences that Sigma males may not even notice. Privacy can make them look powerful, but it also hides blind spots. And understanding these blind spots shows us not only who the Sigma male is, but also what the label itself really means. Reason number 1. They cling to privacy as armor for hidden insecurity. At the surface, Sigma males present themselves as men who do not need anyone. They claim to be self-sufficient, detached, and comfortable in solitude. To others, this looks like strength. It gives the impression of someone who knows himself so well that he does not need to explain or prove anything. But often this privacy is not only about strength. It can also be about fear. Many Sigma males cling to privacy as armor because they are afraid of being exposed. Keeping their lives secret feels safe. If no one knows their weaknesses, no one can use them. If no one sees their struggles, no one can judge them. Privacy becomes protection. This is especially true in emotional life. Sigma males may avoid sharing feelings with friends, family, or partners. They tell themselves it is because they prefer to stay private, but the deeper reason is often insecurity. They worry that if they open up, they will look weak or lose respect. By staying closed, they avoid the risk of rejection. Work life shows the same pattern. A Sigma male may prefer projects he can do alone. He avoids group discussions, not always because he dislikes people, but because he does not want his ideas criticized. Privacy gives him control. If no one else is involved, no one else can point out flaws. In relationships, the armor becomes even more clear. Sigma males may hold back details about their past, their struggles, or even their daily life. They believe this makes them mysterious, but it can also be a way of hiding insecurity. Vulnerability feels dangerous, so they protect themselves with silence. What Sigma males do not always understand is that privacy without openness can become a prison. It blocks trust and connection. It keeps them safe, but it also keeps them alone. The armor that protects them also stops them from growing stronger through honesty and vulnerability. Reason number 2. They deny craving privacy while performing it online. One of the most surprising contradictions about Sigma males is how they present their privacy. They claim not to care about attention, yet many of them actively perform their private lifestyle in ways that draw notice. The very act of showing how private they are becomes a kind of performance. Social media is where this is most obvious. Many Sigma-themed accounts post quotes, videos and edits about being private and mysterious. Some even share lists of behaviors that prove someone is Sigma. But by posting this content, they are not really being private. They are announcing their privacy to the world. They want others to see it, admire it, and talk about it. This is the opposite of true privacy. Even in daily life, the same pattern appears. A Sigma male might act quiet in social gatherings, sitting in the corner and speaking very little. On the surface, this looks like privacy. But in reality, it often draws more attention. People notice the silent figure. They wonder about him, and he becomes the focus of curiosity. The act of being private becomes a way of standing out. In relationships, privacy can also turn into performance. A Sigma male may refuse to share details, thinking it proves he is strong and independent. But the effect is that his partner spends more time thinking about him, trying to figure him out. His silence becomes a tool that creates intrigue. The problem is not privacy itself, but the denial of what is happening. Sigma males tell themselves they are not seeking attention, but their actions often suggest otherwise. By holding back information, they create mystery. By presenting their private lifestyle online, they invite admiration. They may not admit it, but privacy becomes a stage, and they become the actors. This contradiction shows that their privacy is not always as pure as they believe. It is not only about independence. It is also about image. And by denying this, Sigma males fail to see how much of their privacy is actually shaped by the same social forces they claim to avoid. Reason number 3. Their private image is built on toxic masculinity foundations. The Sigma male is often described as someone who lives outside the usual hierarchy of men. Unlike the alpha who commands or the beta who follows, the Sigma is supposed to walk alone. Many see this as freedom, but what most Sigma males do not realize is that their private image was born from the same toxic masculinity culture they claim to avoid. The idea of the Sigma male was first created in online spaces that were part of the manosphere. These communities promoted rigid ideas of what it means to be a man: dominance, control, and emotional coldness. The Sigma was offered as a new option within this system, but it was still built on the same rules. Privacy was not simply a choice. It was presented as proof of strength, proof that the Sigma was too powerful to need anyone. This foundation has shaped how Sigma males see privacy today. They may believe they are private because they value independence. In reality, much of it comes from the belief that showing vulnerability is weakness. They are taught that men must not reveal too much, must not open up, must not depend on others. Privacy becomes another way to hide emotions, not a sign of freedom. The influence of toxic masculinity also shows in how Sigma privacy is praised. Online posts often describe private men as mysterious, untouchable, or dangerous. These words suggest that secrecy makes a man more powerful. But this belief is rooted in the same old idea that men must intimidate rather than connect, dominate rather than share. In daily life, this can create problems. A Sigma male may avoid close relationships because he feels that opening up would damage his image. He may refuse to talk about struggles at work or home because he believes privacy proves strength. Instead of building healthy connections, he becomes trapped by a culture that tells him to stay silent. The irony is that the Sigma male believes he is escaping the hierarchy. But the privacy he values is still defined by the same toxic expectations. Until he sees this, he cannot understand how much his identity depends on a system he thinks he has rejected. Reason number 4. They see solitude as strength. Not noticing it can become isolation. One of the clearest signs of a Sigma male is his love of solitude. He is described as someone who thrives alone, who prefers his own company to the noise of the crowd. To many, this looks like strength. In a world where most people fear being alone, the Sigma seems brave enough to choose it. But what Sigma males often do not realize is that solitude can turn into isolation. There is a fine line between enjoying time alone and being cut off from meaningful connection. When privacy becomes absolute, it stops being healthy and starts becoming harmful. Solitude is valuable in moderation. It gives space to think, time to recharge, and freedom from distraction. But when it becomes a constant way of life, it can limit growth. Human beings need interaction to learn empathy, to share ideas, and to build trust. Without this, isolation begins to shape the mind. Sigma males may not see this happening. They tell themselves they are strong because they do not need anyone. But the truth is that everyone needs connection. Without it, loneliness grows, even if it is hidden. Studies have shown that chronic isolation increases stress, weakens health, and reduces emotional balance. What looks like independence can quietly become a slow decline in well-being. Relationships suffer most from this mindset. A partner may feel shut out when the Sigma male insists on too much privacy. Friends may feel distant when he avoids opening up. Over time, the very privacy that is supposed to make him powerful instead leaves him alone. The danger is that Sigma males confuse silence with strength. They see their solitude as proof of superiority, when in reality it may be blocking them from the growth that comes through vulnerability and connection. True strength is not avoiding others, but learning how to balance independence with openness. Without that balance, solitude can easily turn into isolation. Reason number 5. They idolize anti-hero figures while ignoring their toxicity. The image of the Sigma male has been fueled by pop culture. Characters like John Wick, Batman, or Patrick Bateman from American Psycho are often held up as examples of Sigma behavior. They are solitary, private, and untouchable. To many men, these figures look like proof that privacy equals power. But Sigma males fail to see the danger in this idolization. These characters are not real. They are written as extreme anti-heroes designed to entertain, not to be copied. Their privacy and mystery are part of a story, not a healthy way to live. Yet Sigma males often copy these traits, trying to act as if life is a movie. Take John Wick as an example. He is quiet, private, and relentless. On screen, this looks impressive. In reality, living like John Wick would mean living in grief, violence, and obsession. Batman too is admired for his secrecy and solitude. But his entire life is built on trauma and revenge. These are not models of balance, they are symbols of extremes. The problem is that Sigma males adopt the private, closed-off side of these characters while ignoring the cost. They believe that being silent and mysterious makes them strong. They do not see that in real life, it often leads to misunderstanding, loneliness, or even emotional damage. Worse, some anti-heroes are openly toxic. Patrick Bateman is a violent and disturbed character, yet he is sometimes celebrated in Sigma memes. When men idolize him, they blur the line between strength and dysfunction. They ignore the harm that comes from copying such figures. Privacy becomes exaggerated when it is modeled after fiction. Instead of being a tool for balance, it becomes a wall that shuts out reality. Sigma males do not notice that by idolizing these characters, they are adopting traits that harm real relationships and personal growth. Fictional figures are not role models, they are warnings. But for Sigma males, the warning often goes unseen. Reason number 6. They don't realize how meme culture has hollowed their identity. The Sigma male label began as a serious attempt to describe an alternative personality type. At first, it was discussed in online communities that explored social hierarchies, dominance, and independence. But as the internet does with most ideas, it quickly turned into a meme. What started as a niche label became content for jokes, edits, and viral clips. Today, Sigma is just as likely to be used ironically as it is seriously. Sigma males often do not realize how much this meme culture has changed their identity. They think of themselves as private and unique, but the way people see the Sigma label is now shaped by humor and parody. On TikTok, for example, you can find clips of ordinary people doing small, unrelated tasks with captions calling it Sigma behavior. Something as simple as walking quietly down the street or refusing to answer a text gets labeled Sigma. The label has been stretched so far that it no longer means what it once did. For Sigma males who take the label seriously, this creates a strange problem. They believe they are living out an authentic lifestyle, but to the outside world, they are following an internet trend. The more they embrace Sigma privacy, the more they look like participants in a meme. Instead of standing apart from the crowd, they are defined by the same online culture they claim to reject. Meme culture also exaggerates traits to the extreme. Sigma males are shown as silent shadows, refusing to smile, refusing to connect, refusing to follow any rules. While these exaggerations may be funny, they set up impossible expectations. Real people cannot live like that without cutting themselves off from healthy human interaction. Yet some Sigma males try to copy these exaggerated images, not realizing they are imitating a joke, not a reality. The final problem is that memes are temporary. Trends shift, and what seems powerful today may be laughed at tomorrow. If someone builds their identity on the Sigma label, they risk being tied to a fad. The privacy they value becomes less about who they really are and more about staying in line with a cultural joke. They fail to see that meme culture has hollowed out the meaning, leaving only an empty shell. Privacy is a real choice, but when it is filtered through memes, it becomes performance. Sigma males do not always see this. They think they are avoiding the spotlight, but in truth, they are living inside it, shaped by the same forces that influence everyone else. The Sigma male is often seen as mysterious, private, and untouchable. At first glance, his privacy looks like strength. It makes him appear confident, independent, and different from the crowd. But as we have seen, there are hidden reasons behind this privacy, reasons that even Sigma males themselves may not fully understand. Some of this privacy is armor against insecurity. Some of it is performance designed to draw attention while pretending to avoid it. Much of it comes from the same toxic masculinity culture that Sigma males believe they are escaping. Their solitude can easily turn into isolation, and their idolization of fictional anti-heroes distorts what real life should look like. On top of that, meme culture has hollowed out the meaning of the label, turning Sigma into a punchline rather than a serious identity. When all of this is added together, Sigma privacy is not as simple as it appears. It is a mix of fear, culture, performance, and exaggeration. What looks like independence often hides vulnerability. What looks like mystery often hides the same need for validation that everyone feels. And what looks timeless is often just the latest internet trend. This does not mean privacy is bad. True privacy can be healthy, giving people space to think, grow and recharge. The problem is when privacy becomes a mask, a role or a label that prevents real growth. Sigma males may believe they are rejecting the crowd, but if they are living by a label, they are still trapped by the crowd's expectations. The real strength is not in clinging to the Sigma image, but in living honestly. Sometimes that means being private. Other times it means opening up. Sometimes it means standing alone. Other times it means leaning on others. True independence is about choosing freely, not about forcing yourself into a box, even if that box is called Sigma. So the next time someone calls themselves a Sigma male, it may be worth asking, is this real privacy, or just another role created by culture and memes? The answer could reveal that the most private thing about the Sigma male is not his silence, but the blind spots he cannot see about himself.